Hi, everyone, and good evening to everyone who has joined us. We're so glad to see you all and so thankful that you all decided to join us after, I'm sure, a busy day at work. So kudos to you all, and we have some great information that we're going to share with you all. But first, just some housekeeping rules. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat for us, because we want to make sure that we get all your questions answered. Um, and also, like I said, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. I wanna give you a little information about our subject today. Of course, it's affordable auto financing, and it's with On the Road Lending. On the Road Lending is a nonprofit organization that was funded in 2013 to help people improve their credit and purchase fuel efficient, reliable cars with low interest loans. The effort began in Dallas, and they have expanded across Texas and into Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. So they are growing. And we are so excited to be able to share this information with you all. But let me put my counselor hat on and put this little disclaimer out there. Okay, so if you are working with Porfirio or myself, I just want you to know that yes, we want you to get this information and we want you to share it with your family and your friends. But please just remember, if you're looking, we don't want you to establish any more credit unless it's just absolutely necessary. So if you're having to do that, we want you to personally reach out to your counselor before doing so, okay? But again, this is going to be great information, not just for you, but for your family. And we do want you to share. And so at this time, I'd like to introduce our presenter for the evening. We have Mr. Lonnie Smith, and he is the Senior Vice President of Business Development with On the Road Lending. And he has chosen to come and share all this great information with you all. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to him so you all can absorb everything that he's saying. And again, feel free to ask questions. We want you to do that. So again, over to you, Mr. Lonnie.
I appreciate that introduction. Good evening, everyone. Like it was shared, just want to thank you for taking out some time this evening. I know you could probably be doing a lot of other things. I'm not going to try and be too long because I know preseason football starts here too shortly. So, but hopefully we're going to provide some information that's going to be useful. And like was shared, it may not be right now, but at least you'll be armed with good information when you are ready to purchase a vehicle. So appreciate sharing about On the Road Lending. I tell people the best way to describe us is that we're the Habitat for Humanity for vehicles, because sometimes people have difficulty understanding, like, who are you guys? Like, is this real? But I'm going to talk a little bit more generically about purchasing a vehicle, and then I'll give you some insights in terms of how we operate and how we can be supportive through that process. As you all know, the purchase of a vehicle is a huge investment, and it's typically, it's going to be the largest investment people make outside of a mortgage in purchasing a home. And so as you think about that, one of the things that we advocate and is built into our process, and I'm going to talk about this evening, is really making sure that you just have something that's going to get you to point A and point B. I'll tell myself, when I first started working, and I got a job at State Farm, my first supervisor, she told me, she was like, okay, Lonnie, there are pool cars that have been used at State Farm. Get that vehicle. You can get finance through the State Farm Credit Union. It's a used vehicle. It's been taken care of because it's a State Farm pool car. But I felt like I had to make a statement. This is my first big job. And so I went out and I got fleeced. I got a lease for a black Volkswagen Jetta with a sunroof, and I thought I thought it was it. One thing I didn't do, I did contemplate how much my insurance was going to be. I didn't contemplate all of the costs related to leasing that vehicle. And I had the mistaken thought that if I couldn't afford it, then I could just turn it in without any type of repercussions. Well, I was wrong, and I found that out the hard way. And took me a long time to get out of it. I wish I'd heeded the advice of my first supervisor, who was trying to let me know, hey, you don't have walk, you don't have to run, right? Get the right vehicle that fits your budget. So I'm going to share a couple tips. These are things that you can talk with your counselors about. And when you are ready to make a vehicle purchase, or, you know, again, sharing this information with family, friends, and your social network, it's just a couple tips to think about. So first, you really have to determine, do you need a vehicle, right? You know, are you currently using DART? Does that work? Do you have a carpool share, or do you have a family member that's helping you purchase a vehicle? So that's number one. The second piece, which I think is again, I skipped this process, but it's really taking a look at your budget, and that's what we do. So what we'll do is we'll ask you for your most recent bank statements, your most recent pay stubs, and then a financial coach with On the Road Lending, they will spend time to see, okay, what's that income flow? What are your monthly expenses? And at the end of the month, do you have at least $500 to $600 to put towards transportation costs? So the car note, car insurance, you know, gas, any related expenses to owning the vehicle. And really, you all get great financial coaching from Habitat for Humanity, top notch. And so as you think about your budget, one of the things you really need to think about is that transportation costs should not exceed 15% of your budget. That's very important. If you're going outside of that, you're putting yourself in harm. Okay, so just make sure you keep that in mind. Again, as you're talking with your counselors, as you're sharing information with family and friends, make sure you help them. If you've built a budget, take the mystique away, right? It's just like, you can do this, I can help you do it. And there's no shame in that process. There's no shame in getting help, right? And so pass that knowledge on. And this is an important fundamental piece. There is a consumer reporter named Clark Howard, and he provides tips on any type of consumer purchase. And you can go to his website for any type of consumer research before you make a purchase. And one of the things he stresses is make sure you get your financing secured before you go to a car lot, before you make a purchase. This is so fundamental, and that's what we build into our process. Before you take a look at a vehicle, before you go to a dealership, before you step on a lot and get talked into driving a vehicle, we sit down. It's a phone conversation that takes place. And again, we build the budget and we take a look to see what that expense flow is. That's how we make a determination in terms of what amount we can lend. And so we don't take a look at credit scores. We do character-based lending. And so we're looking to see if you're going to be in a position to pay back a 5-year loan. We don't look at credit. I need to repeat that. We will do a hard pull, you know, to take basically a before picture of what your credit looks like. but I would say our average credit score today is a 500 of our current clients. And we charge one rate. We charge 9.75. It doesn't matter if you're new to credit or whatever your credit score might be. We charge one rate, 9.75. And so again, that then arms our clients with the ability to know, okay, I've been approved for a $17,000 loan. Now I have in mind, and I know what I can be in the market for. And so that securing of financing is critical. If you don't secure financing through us, or again, sharing this with family and friends, make sure they secure that financing through a credit union or a financial institution where they have a current banking relationship. This is the most important thing that I want everyone to walk away with. It's so important. And again, for you in the audience, it's phenomenal that you have a great resource, an advocate in terms of Habitat for Humanity that provides great coaching and counseling to arm you with this type of knowledge. So you do need to know your credit score because, and you can request, and many of you may already know this, but you can request a free credit score or your credit report through annualcreditreport.com. This is very important too, because we are like a unicorn out there. Everyone else looks at your credit to determine, your financing and what rate they're going to charge. 9.75 for someone who is new to credit or has what's called a subprime credit score may be charged 18 to 28% interest. So our product is 60% cheaper than typically what our clientele may receive. But even 9.75, if you know your credit score and you have a banking relationship or you go to a credit union, you may be able to find a lower rate. And we highly encourage you to secure that. And again, sharing this with family and friends as well. You want to do that. Again, we haven't even talked about what type of vehicle you're looking for. So again, make sure you secure the financing. You need to know what your credit report shows and if there's any adjustments that you need to make or dispute. But being armed with that information helps as people start interacting with you in terms of offering you deals and financing. And again, 18 to 28% is not a good deal. Again, we offer 9.75. Any questions in the chat before I move on? Any questions?
No, I'm not seeing any right now, Lonnie.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so now we got to a point where you can begin to shop for your vehicle. And with our process, you've met with a financial coach. They've shared, what the amount is that we can lend at. Then we have a vehicle selection team that will work directly with our clients to find the right vehicle that meets the budget as well as meets their family needs. And so again, the two main components of our program is affordability and reliability. So we want to make sure that someone's not going to have to worry about costly repairs to their vehicle. You're paying enough money for the car note as well as the car insurance. And so we don't want people to worry about, is my car going to start if it's out? You have a car that is operational, it works. So our vehicles are 2 to 4 years old, less than 50,000 50,000 miles with an extended warranty on it. And for us, it's important because when you think about a new vehicle, the minute you drive it off the lot, it depreciates in value. So it's not like a home, which appreciates in value, it depreciates in value. So again, as we think about 2 years, that depreciation has taken place. And so that vehicle is going to tend to hold its value. So when you're doing research in terms of your car, don't be like me in my first vehicle. I got in love with the look of the car, how I felt it was going to make me look, the statement I was making. And I didn't like really do my due diligence to make sure I could afford it. And so what you also want to do is just either go to the library or look up NADA, look up if there've been recalls for your particular vehicle. You know, there's all types of information available online. If you go to the library to find out, you know, what's the repair history of the type of vehicle that you're looking for, et cetera. Those costs matter significantly. And so one of the things too, I know we get questions like, well, what's your inventory? Well, we don't have inventory. So again, that's a different approach. And so if you have to go out to a dealer's lot, make sure you do it late at night to take a look at the vehicle when they're closed, because as soon as you hit the lot, someone's going to approach you and try and sell. But if you've already done your homework and you know what your financing looks like, you know your credit score, you know your credit report, you're armed with that information, and you can be a lot more confident and know what you actually can afford and support. When I made that first purchase, they kept selling me on the fact of, oh, okay, well, they just had me on the car note amount, nothing else, right? I didn't even, the conversation around interest rate never popped up. It was like, oh, okay, what are you looking to pay? So again, do that homework on the vehicle. And for us, we do that for you. So we take out the negotiation, the worrying about haggling with a dealer. We have dealer relationships. And what our vehicle selection team will do is they will go hunting and looking for the right vehicle that you've expressed that you want, or that meets your budget, as well as meets your needs. Now, we do require a 5% down payment of the total loan amount. So that, for illustration purposes, a $17,000 loan, that would be $850 down. What's important about making a down payment is that you position yourself to make sure that that vehicle is going to hold its value over the course of the loan. Because what you don't want to happen is to have an upside down loan. And I don't know if many of you have heard that term, but essentially what that means is that you owe more on the vehicle than what the vehicle is worth. And one of the ways that that happens is that you don't put any down payment down on a vehicle to make sure you have some equity built into that purchase. So that's very important. The other thing that you want to do as you start looking at the vehicle, you want to make sure, if you can, get the VIN number off the vehicle, and you can either purchase a vehicle history report for like, 20, 30 bucks. And the report will let you know if when you're looking at the car, if it's been in an accident, if it was subject to flood, if it had significant repairs to it. Again, this is a small cost and a big investment in a vehicle that you're making. And that's again, the research that you'll want to do. If you can, if you have a mechanic in your life, you may want them to even come, to the lot with you. I think that's important. Again, you want to know truly what you're getting yourself into in terms of this vehicle purchase. And I know when I look at my feed, sometimes I see vehicles for sale through Facebook Marketplace, and the numbers don't look right. So just be careful when you purchase vehicles online, like Craigslist or any other type of similar site. There's just a lot of bad actors out there who are promising a car for a particular price, and then when you get there, it's not the vehicle you were looking at, or there's significant damage to the vehicle. So be very wary about that. So one thing I would like to share is that the success of our clients is amazing. So on average, our clients increase their credit score by 157 points working with us. And through COVID, we had at least 40% of our clientele that were impacted either through reduced wages or lost jobs. And we kept everyone in their vehicles, by doing deferments and really working. And that's how we're different in terms of a lender. We just ask, hey, if you purchase a vehicle through us, stay in contact. Life happens. Just let us know so we can work with you. And what we're also proud of is that our default rate is less than 4%. And what that means is that I would say in the marketplace, typically in subprime market, it's 30 to 40%. So that's a significant difference. And so I think that point really illustrates how much we work with our clients. So I will share our website address in the chat. You can contact me by email directly if there are any questions. And like was shared at the intro, we're available throughout the state of Texas. We operate through trusted referrals. So please encourage everyone to apply. There's no fee to apply. But please share this as a resource with family, friends, and your networks. And so I'll end my formal presentation at this time, but would love to open it up to any and all questions that you may have.
Hey, Lonnie, this is Blaine at Habitat. Quick question. We have a question about, does on-the-road lending help with refinancing?
Yes, so great question, and thanks for teeing that up. So we recently have begun refinancing, but the parameters around that follow the model in terms of vehicles that we provide with our originations. So the guidelines would be the vehicle would need to be relatively newer, so less than 4 years old, less than 60,000 miles. And if you're upside down on the loan, we can probably help. We may not be able to do, if you're significantly upside down, so let's say 125% over, if that's the LTV or the loan to value on that, we might not be able to, but we have also partnered with another community development financial institution at CDFI, where if it does exceed that, they do some micro loans, and maybe someone could take out a micro loan to assume that part that maybe we couldn't take care of, and we would take care of the majority of the refinancing on the vehicle. But I highly encourage that if you meet kind of those parameters, because if you're being charged higher than, I would say, 12%, this could be a significant cost savings for you to get a refinance. And you would just apply like you would regularly apply.
Yes, Lonnie, and I saw a message come through from one of my clients, Jerome. He said he wished he had this information when he bought a car. And I'm sure everybody is saying that, because this is great, And we also had a question come in from Ms. Latoya. She wants to know, what is the average time to complete the process?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I typically tell folks that you're in the driver's seat in terms of how long this process takes. But it's not going to be instantaneous, because what we're trying to also promote is a little bit of delayed gratification. As I talked about the process, we want to make sure that we've looked at your documentation. So I would say typically it could take anywhere from 2 weeks to maybe 30 days, right? But again, if you have all your information ready, you've done your homework, you follow some of the steps that I've shared, you're going to be in a much quicker position to act quickly. Where I see people get hung up in our process is not following up with proper documentation, because we need that, right? We're not taking a look at your credit. So that is fundamental for us. So if you don't do that, it's going to delay the whole entire process. The other piece I see is sometimes people have a little bit of fear and may not show up to an appointment. And I cannot stress enough that if someone has to reschedule, it's going to push your timeline back significantly. So please keep your appointment. It's so critical, because this is where our underwriting decision is made. And quite frankly, if someone continues to cancel, remember, we're doing character-based lending. Then we start to get a little bit worried about, okay, are you going to keep your commitment from a loan payment standpoint? So this is so important. I really can't stress that enough. Keep your appointment and be transparent in terms of what you can or cannot do. Make sure that schedule, when you schedule an appointment with a financial coach, it works for your life. You know your life, so make sure that works. And then the other part where people get hung up is the ability to secure the down payment. And so that's where sometimes the process takes a little bit longer. And also sometimes it's about finding the right car, the right color. Sometimes people switch up. It's like, no, I don't want the Nissan Rogue. I want the Honda CRV, so that may delay the process as well. But typically we've gotten people in over a weekend that quickly. But typically I would say more, it's 2 weeks to a month in terms of what we see from an average standpoint. So good question.
Very good. So you all grabbed that, right? It's so very important to get those documents to them in a timely fashion. And I know you all know all about this, because we talk about it all the time in our counseling sessions. Before we can do what we need to do on our end, we got to have those documents to be able to review. Yes.
Yes.
We also had a question come in, Lonnie, from Jaleesa. She wants to know, how many miles over the 60,000 miles can on the road lending accept for refinancing?
If it's a relatively newer vehicle, we may take a look at that. So that's a great question, ma'am. I would say if it's like a 2020 vehicle, we might be able to do it more. Again, what we're trying to make sure is that your vehicle is going to hold its value over the term of the loan period. So that's something that we're going to take a close look at. So again, I think for us we have flexibility with the way we look at every situation. That's how we're different from other lenders. We don't have this algorithm to kick people out. We really try and work with everyone to see if we can't find a solution to help. And there are many instances where we might say, well, we can't help you right now, but come back. But if you want to send us a note or apply, you can put in the comments section what your actual mileage is and the year of your model of your vehicle, and maybe we can take a look at it. How much more than 60,000 is it?
Jaleesa, can you put that in the chat? How much more over 60,000 is it? And while she's answering that. I have a question or just something I want you to clarify.
Okay.
I know that you all do a hard pull, um, but just to be clear, it's character based. So everybody gets that same, regardless of their credit, everyone gets that same interest rate of 9.75.
Yes, I appreciate you bringing that back up because I think this is a very critical point to underscore. So I appreciate you bringing that point back up. We do that hard pull, but that's so we can take that before picture, right? And that's so we can understand the full your financial wellness, right? And so everybody, past repossession, past bankruptcy, zero credit score, thin file, 400, 500, 600, one rate, 9.75.
That is amazing.
Yes, ma'am. I'm telling you, it is, again, this is a real deal. Again, and that's why we partner with organizations like Habitat, is because sometimes, people have been burned before and there's a mistrust, and we get that. I'm here to tell you today, we're the real deal. And that's why I can tell folks that our clients increase their credit score by 157 points, because then what we do is we do a soft pull annually just to kind of do a check-in and see how things are going. So that's how we're able to report, because we receive grant support from different corporations, financial institutions, foundations. They want to know that we're making an impact. And this is one way that we can demonstrate and showcase and highlight the success of our clients. And we want people to succeed. I think that's really underscored in our default rate, that we are built and we're predicated on people succeeding. And so one thing I try and emphasize this more often than not, we are the no judgment zone. We are the no judgment zone. And I know sometimes finances is the most embarrassing thing to talk about. Trust me, I get it. I've been there. But it is so critical to sometimes, if you need a little assist, to get that little assist. And that's what we're here to do and provide.
And like I was saying, I know so many of my clients are saying this. I wish I knew about this program before, because when you have a single mother or a single father coming through our program and they're trying to get this house on their own, sometimes that car note, car notes right now are anywhere from $600 to $700 a month. They make or break them. That right there sometimes set their debt ratio just all out, and they're not able to afford that home any longer.
Right.
So I wish we had this information that we, could have shared with a lot of them beforehand. Because you got people out there, scrupulous people out there that don't care.
They don't.
Yeah.
They're being greedy.
Yes.
They're just being greedy. And so one thing is that now it's all of our responsibility that are on this call to share this information, to share this knowledge, to help other people not get in the situation. So like I would tell everybody, don't get fleeced like I did. Don't get a lease. Don't do it. Even though that car might smells good, looks good and all that. You know what? I was stressed. I was stressed at work every day because I'm thinking about, I don't even know how I'm going to be able to do all this. Why? And if I listened to my supervisor, I wouldn't have had all that stress in my life. I would have had a car. I just needed to get to point A, point B. I didn't need to do all that flexing. For what? I didn't have the money. If you don't have the money, why are you trying to show off? What?
Yeah. I understand.
Hey, so that's where,
live and learn.
We live and learn, and sometimes those are the hardest lessons.
Yes.
They are the hardest lessons. But now that we are all armed with this information, please share it with your family and friends, and make sure you help them with the exercise of building the budget, and make sure they're not spending more than 50% on transportation costs. And transportation costs is that car note, it's the car insurance, and it's gas. We have a client, and why gas? We have a client who is an engineer in Jackson, Mississippi, for Toyota. She has to drive 150 miles one way to get to work. We put her in a hybrid because that's would help lessen that, but that's a real true cost in her budget on a monthly basis. And so that needs to be accounted for, right? And so we need to think about that. I live in Atlanta. Everyone here is in Dallas. We have a lot of roads, right? And the commutes are a beast, right? And so gas money is real and it's not cheap. So it's a significant cost that we need to make sure we're budgeting for when we're considering purchase of a vehicle.
And regarding that question, with the overage, the client came back and they said 9,000 over.
Okay, please apply and indicate in the comments that you heard about the program at Dallas Habitat, from Dallas Habitat. And also include the year of your vehicle. So thank you for following up on that. You're welcome, Ms. Felix.
And we have Latoya asked, what was her question? Is there a limit of annual income when applying for the program for everyone? So if you make over 100,000, you can't apply for the program?
No, there's no limit. No limit. What I would say is we do have a minimum. And so that minimum is $1,500 a month after taxes. And so that's wages. Now, if someone is on disability or retired, we're looking at their benefits and it needs to be at least $1,500 a month. So we do have the minimum, but there is no cap. We understand that life hits all of us at different times. It doesn't matter how much money you make. So there's no cap.
Okay, that's good to know. Good question.
Really good question.
Are there any questions that I'm missing, Blaine? Do you see anything out there that I missed?
No, ma'am. No, but we would say if y'all have questions, keep them coming. These are great questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
Really good questions. Appreciate it.
We do. Okay. Anything else you want to expand on, Mr. Lonnie?
Well, is there?
This is from Ashley.
Yes.
Ashley.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Ashley is asking, her comment is, she's just really good advice on the auto insurance and renter's insurance. She bundled is a great deal so far, but it could be better. So this is just a comment.
Yeah, I think again, do your homework, do shopping, right? And no slight against my former employer, but you have to, it might not be the cheapest, right? And so you have to do your shopping. But many insurance companies will offer a bundled discount if you have multiple lines. So this is another part, this is a different conversation, but you also need to have life insurance, right? And so that's a whole nother conversation, because I've had too many family friends that have had GoFundMe efforts to pay for burial expenses, et cetera. So that, again, that's not related to this conversation, but you need to start thinking about how do you protect your assets? And one of the ways you need to think about is the legacy building. If you're purchasing a home, you're generating wealth and you want to preserve that wealth and be able to pass that on to family members and preserve your legacy. So again, I just want to thank everyone for taking time out on a Thursday evening. I applaud everyone for the investment you're making in yourselves and investment you're making in your family. This is really important. And so What I ask everyone to do is please share this information with at least 5 people. At least 5 people share a nugget or 2 out of this conversation. It doesn't necessarily be about sending them us, although we would be very happy to serve. But please make sure you help people understand. Don't get into a bad loan. Do your homework. Make sure you know what your credit looks like and secure your financing first. That make sure not more than 15% of your budget. So critical and important. So again, I thank you. I appreciate the great partners here at Dallas Habitat. You all have been phenomenal. And again, thanks to everyone in the audience. More importantly, you all have been great questions, and so wish you many success in your life's adventures.
Oh, Aretha, you're on mute. I see your mouth's moving.
Oh, okay.
Whee, there you go.
I apologize, everyone. I just wanted to say this has been some great information, and I know that our clients have really appreciated it. We appreciate your time and you coming to share this information with us. And we just look forward to, many more classes. We try to do stuff, even if we repeat it, we have different clients coming through the program. So we definitely want you to come back and again and share it, in the future. And I just want to make sure that I did not miss any questions.
You did not. Although we might mention, Aretha, you might share about our next workshop.
Oh, yes, definitely. We want to mention that our next class is going to be on Thursday, August 26th from 6 to 7 p.m. So if you have not registered, we need you to do that as soon as you get off this meeting here. Go on and register. This is Intro to Home Ownership, and it's going to be with our partners, Bank of America. They're going to come and discuss everything you need to know as you begin your home ownership journey. They're going to talk about credit, budgeting, savings, loan approvals, and lots more. So again, you don't want to miss it. So make sure you register, put it on your calendar so you don't forget, and join us Thursday, August 26th from 6 to 7 p.m. And remember that education is a requirement of the program. We want you to be smart, educated consumers. So join us. All right, and thank you again, Mr.
No problem. There is one question left. Ms. Talisa, looks like, how low does the refinancing rate start? So again, one rate, 9.75. So 9.75. So that's, yeah. So again, thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
And good evening to everyone. Enjoy your evening. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.